Hey guys, and welcome to another little update on our little FPS shooter we got going on. Now, I was thinking about how we could, improve this and other things, and I was like, with these weapon objects and everything, to set them up, make stuff easier for you guys, and I'm like, well, hmm, because I did make that new weapon object thing, and it's okay, but you still have to delete this game object, set some other stuff up, and just other things. Now, I was like, well, it could be okay. So I was reading the documents and stuff, and I was like, man, I can make this so much better. And it's in between work, and I have a little bit of time. I have about 10 hours to myself, which, you know, you don't always want to do this. You want to mix it up, play a little game, something. That way you guys don't get bored or, yourself, so you don't lose interest. So I made a weapon maker, little custom editor window thing right here. And what it does is you take your game object. Let's just do model. Let's just take this basic mesh guy that I got, or better yet, let's take this Russian pistol thing. Okay, and you can dock this anywhere you want and stuff. Well, here's the thing. This has an animator and stuff, and it's doing all that thing. But, imagine this is your weapon and it's got the animations. Well, all you have to do is drag this in, okay? And you're like, oh, okay. Or you can put it, over here, whichever you want. I mean, it's dockable anywhere. Makes life easier, right? So, you just hit make weapon. Bam! You have your FPS weapon on the main, and you pretty much just basically have your weapon right here. It already parents it for you and everything. Okay, based on the prefab that you give it. So if it has an avatar and all that stuff, it'll do exactly what you need. Now, in your main script, it also puts your weapon info. Now, if you have the older version, not exactly what I have, then you have to cross out something. It will not make this for you if you have the old version. But the thing is, and this is the really super thing about it, is if you actually um, know the kit and everything, you know that all you have to do is come up here and make a weapon info asset. That's it. And drag it in there. No big deal. I mean, it's super. Now, this is an editor script, so it must be in the editor folder. So when you try to make one, this, you have to have it in an editor folder, and it has to be exactly spelled correctly, or it'll give you an error, okay? Because it's an editor. And, it's a super simple script. We won't need this. And I even put a comment here. This must be an editor folder. It must be spelled right, or you get errors and it will not work. Now, I just made this little info box thing. This is the string that I put into it. It's for all this text on our, where'd I die? Right here. And I will be adding more of these to all the other cool stuff that I have, so that way it helps you guys for directions. But, you know, it's a work in progress. I mean, it's only version 0.1. Come on, what do you expect? It's not like a 1.0. So it's Betty, you know, but it should work for the most part. Now, you need a public game object like this, and we just label it anything. I mean, you can label it, hey, I'm your sister, brother, mother. It's a basic thing. Now, this is to put it in the menu. And for some reason, you need this to be there for an initial. Probably don't need this, so let's just get rid of this. I don't know if you need this. I hear you do, so I just put it. It's for updating, I think, or something. But here's the GUI thing, and it just makes the button and the label and things. It's not really too complicated if you ever use the old system in games. So, no big deal. And because I use the GUI layout system, you have to do a beginning and end because this is our object field. So it'll make this little object field and it'll stay like the width of it, like super long or like this. It'll resize. But who cares? I mean, it's an editor window. If you wanted it super pretty, I'm sure you could find a way. Now, I use a layout button. I just push a string to it. Hey, whatever. It doesn't matter what this one is. And we have our parentheses, if that's what you call them. And it goes to a function. Okay. Now, here's the function for that. Now, this line right here is exactly the one you guys, as your code, will need to cross out because it will not work if you have this. Because the weapon info object that this is referring to, I've updated the weapon script to include it now instead of the base script that we used to be running from, which I'm thinking about getting away from object oriented stuff where we don't have all these overrides and stuff, just regular functions and things, and subclass or whatever you want to call some of this other stuff, just because it'll make it easier. Because I'm getting tired of getting references everywhere and stuff. It's more of a headache for me. Because Unity is component based system, so you shouldn't have all this other stuff in it. But here's the function to do it. It's just a new game object for a parent, and then I instantiate another game object, which is our game object that you put in the editor window. Okay. Now I add this component to it, to the parent class, just the top upmost class, the new game object completely. I label it, which you don't have to do, but it makes it easier when you're in the hierarchy because it's a new object. So I would recommend doing that. And then the class that we instantiate, I set it to the parent, and then I name it because you're going to rename this anyway. And this is to make the asset for it, our weapon info asset, which you don't actually have to have this code right here. You could just make a weapon info asset out of our thing. Make weapon info asset. There you go. Or whatever I called it in the other older versions. But yeah, this will give you your editor and thing. You just make sure you spell it right and everything. And I'll try to get it on the site as soon as I do some other stuff. But yeah, this should be very helpful for you guys and make life a lot easier. You know me, if I can get away from doing all that miscellaneous stuff, I'll do it because doing this will save you huge amounts of time when you're starting to make a bunch of objects, a bunch of weapons. But like, hit, subscribe, do the YouTube thing, and thank you guys. And